things that you need to be aware of. And also, I don't want to use the word fooled, but you want to be educated so that when you do bring on a reputation management company, you know what you're getting. So let me give you an example. We sat down with Doug Ducey, who was running for Arizona State Treasurer at the time. And so it was during the now it's going to be a little bit harder for this same thing to occur again. However, we'll talk a little bit more about it. So when we Googled the keywords Doug Ducey, keep in mind that Doug Ducey used to be the CEO of Cold Stone Creamery, and then he ran for office. So just a great guy, and also a man of impeccable reputation. But when it comes to keyword research, people can hijack keywords and do all kinds of things with them. And so, the idea of keeping your name clean is very, very important. Well, there was a person who kind of was a carpetbagger. Okay, he worked in the Clinton cabinet, and knew all the SEO tricks, the search engine optimization tricks, to be able to hijack keywords. And so he actually created a lot of websites. His opponent did, that were very finely written, meaning that the content of the domain name, as well as the title tags, were introducing questions that were inferences that made you potentially infer that Doug Ducey had done some bad things. And so on the first page of Google, under the name Doug Ducey, was Doug Ducey's running for treasurer. Great, patriotic website. But then the next 15 pages were all entitled with questions that made it sound like Doug Ducey had done very bad things, and they were formulated with questions so that it wasn't a true accusation. It was saying, did Doug Ducey do this? Did Doug Ducey do that? And so it was a huge reputation management problem. When you're in a situation like that, first of all, that's painful. Doug Ducey is a very upstanding member of the community. Always has been, always will be, and his name is what he has. So when somebody is attacking his name, and when somebody Googles Doug Ducey, and they come up with all this information, now the nice thing is that they were using black hat tricks at the time. Black hat tricks are kind of going by the wayside, not kind of, extremely going by the wayside. So it's a lot harder to hijack in the middle of a campaign to start getting all kinds of words coming up about a particular person. It's a little bit harder to do that now than it used to be, because it has to be more organic rather than using black hat tricks. However, a person's name doesn't normally lend a lot of web authority. If you type in Kurt Wilhelm, you find a lot about me, but you find a lot about people from all over the world that happen to have my name, including some football players who have not done nice things. So luckily for me, I've been able to do enough out there that when you type in Kurt Wilhelm, you find some amazing things about Kurt Wilhelm, who is me, and the things that are not so good are on page 2. So if you want to go find out the Kurt Wilhelms are not so great, you can go to page 2, and I'm wishing you didn't, but hey, it is what it is. Well, reputation management having to do with web-related stuff, the only thing you can really do because of free speech, I mean, for crying out loud, we can't even get child porn off the internet, okay? So if you think that you're going to get somebody who has a certain opinion about you thrown up a question mark about you like they did with Doug Ducey, good luck trying to fight free speech, okay? Because our entire sex slavery industry is centered around free speech. And so, if you can actually enslave millions and millions and millions of women and do terrible things to them online and still not get prosecuted for it and still not be told to take that stuff down, even though they're underage, even though they might be raped to death, whatever the case might be, good luck trying to get your own stuff cleaned up, okay? So really the only thing that you can do is to do search engine optimization to get as much positive stuff about you and have very high web authority at the very top of the food chain, so that now all that junk about you or somebody with a name like yours gets pushed down to page 2 or 3 or 4, and that's what I've been able to do with my name. So, these are all things that are important to know about reputation management. Now, that is the really hardcore, hard side of things, and sometimes you can spend $50,000 trying to clean up something, depending on how it is important to you. How important it is to you. So the next thing that I wanted to address is a different type of reputation management. It's a little bit easier to push down, and it's a little bit easier to control, but it's also a lot easier to have somebody else blacken your name. And that has to do with Yelp and Looped and Foursquare, Merchant Circle, Angie's List, Ripoff Report. Okay, these are all places that people go to put bad things about you. People in the old days, before this whole recommendation industry came out in what I still call the social media. I still look at Yelp as a part of the social media. I know some people are kind of pushing it more into the search engine optimization, reputation management industry, and it really is kind of developing its own angle, but I do look at the new development that have to do with the reputation management still in the realm of social media. I think most people look at Yelp as social media, Looped as social media, Merchant Circle as social media. So this is kind of a part of the social media world that we haven't really talked about for a while. So I wanted to address that with our audience. These are very, very important things. So here's the nice thing about reputation management. Let's say you're a restaurant owner, and these are the people who tend to get hit the worst. Somebody has a bad experience in the restaurant. It's really hard to keep somebody's palate, that you make that food and it matches everybody's palate. It's too salty, it's not salty enough. The same dish, by the way, could be too salty and not salty enough, and 2 different tables. It's prepared from the exact same, it's prepared exactly the same way because people have different tastes. So it's kind of hard to keep everybody happy all at once. Also, somebody might want the waitress to be a little bit standoffish, whereas somebody else wants the waitress to have her hand on his back. You just never know what the style and how to please. So my heart goes out and my respect goes out to restaurant owners that are trying to keep the public happy when they have so many different varying tastes. Both in food and the way they're treated, et cetera, et cetera. So now, of course, I think we all agree with the experience there in North Scottsdale that no restaurant owner should treat people like that. But they got their own reality show, so hey, my hat's off to them. They figured out a way to make some money out of a totally managed restaurant. But nonetheless, if you went online and looked at their reviews, they had horrible reviews, and they were justified that they were horrible reviews because they treated their people badly, their food was terrible, it was verified their food was terrible, and they treated people badly. But most restaurants do a really good job, at least they try really, really hard, their heart's in the right place, to treat people well. And they also try really, really hard to provide good food. Same thing with clothing. You want to have a clothing line that people like, your boutiques, the clothing boutiques, whether you're Water and Ice, a 99-cent store, whatever you are trying to keep the public happy. But then we have these guys that rage. They're what I call ragers, okay? Like to rage against the machine. And so, and they're also kind of their own variation of coupon shoppers. They come in, they make it impossible to please them. And then the net result is that they go out there and they kind of do what Yelp was doing, writing bad reviews, and then they come in and say, I'll fix it if you will do these things. And so in a way, it's online blackmail. What a terrible thing. It's something I actually don't agree with. There's a lot in the social media that I don't agree with, and this is one part of the social media. It should have been more like the Better Business Bureau, even though I don't have a lot of faith in the Better Business Bureau either. It's a little bit slanted more toward the business owner. The business owner pays them some money, they get an A rating, they're on their way. Now, that's very simplistic, but that's kind of the more jaded view of the way the Better Business Bureau works. But now, on this side, the consumers get to say whatever they want, and there's no rebuttal. absolutely no rebuttal. I was talking to a business owner yesterday who said, you know what, if they could just give us a chance to refute what they're saying, and also if we could also start identifying and having a blacklist for these repeat offenders, that there's nobody who tracks that same person has just gone in and nailed 50 different businesses, because everywhere they shop they go on and say bad things about them and then try to get something for free, try to get some kind of resolution before they take it down. These people are not good people, they're not ethical people, and if you're one of them, I hope you feel guilty, because you shouldn't do that. I, for one, have never ever given a negative review, and I probably should give a negative review once in a while. I mean, nobody's perfect, but if it's legitimate, that's one thing. But if you are just running around using it as a blackmail tool, not cool. So what does a business owner do when they have that problem where somebody is just coming in and raging? There might even be a group of people, nearly terrorist activity. These teenagers come in and go on there and just write all kinds of bad reviews because they're trying to get things out of you. Not cool, not cool, not cool. So we are coming up on break, and when we come back from break, I'm going to talk about how we resolve that uncoolness out there in the social media. So don't go away. This is Kurt Wilhelm, your host of the Social Universe here on Voice America and World Talk Radio. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk about how we resolve this reputation management mess when we come back from break. We'll be right back.